Seaside Special. Okay. The song is... What is it? The song... Okay, it's the song I wrote is really the story about my dad and I. And it all came together in a British fish and chip shop during a great day out 2 years ago, while my dad was still alive with Alzheimer's and still mobile enough that I could take him in a wheelchair and plunk him in my rented car, because I was in England, and drive him downtown Southport, which is a little seaside town in the north of England where I grew up with my dad. And realized immediately we had to go in and have lunch. So we went in and had the King's lunch, which is this huge plate with this massive fish, mushy peas, which is a seaside specialty, and chips and gravy and bread and butter and a cup of tea. It's just like this massive thing. And we had one each, and we just sat there, and no words were passing between us. But I took pictures because I could see he was just all lit up, and it was just like me and Dad, nobody there to mess it up, nobody there to cause a scene, nobody there to deny us this hour of just being together. And we just sat in silence and we ate. And I just felt so elated I could be there with my dad, and we could just sit and enjoy each other. So I knew immediately I had to write a song because I was so moved. It's just like I could never walk down the street with my dad because I'd be afraid if we ran into my mum, she'd tear a strip off him, like in public, and I'd just feel embarrassed because they had such a horrible divorce and they were so unable to get over it for the sake of the children. It was just drove me crazy. So it sounds like a small thing, but to be together on my own with my father was not only it was a huge treat, and it was a forbidden fruit for a lot of years. Fish and chips and mushy peas, bread and butter and cup of tea, a fine day out by the sea, just my old man and me. As we sit in the chippy, pleased to sponge and slow jolly, playful glances spark with glee, just my old man and me. Years ago, we were a family. Mom, sis, you and me. The trouble hit, she said the love was gone. I watched her toss you out of her home. But now it's fish and chips and mushy peas, bread and butter, a cup of tea, a fine day out by the sea, just my old man and me. I missed you terribly, a boy lost in the world. I needed you. Did you need me too? I'm the dad, now he's the lad, 'cause his mind's not what he had. Better catch up while we can, just my old man and me. Take it away now. I was taught to forget you and love another dad. Yeah, whoever you are, I never let chair, down the streets and up the stairs. Still life's at the gallery, just my old man and me. At 40, I forgave you. I made a path right to your door. Yes, I did. As a man, I claimed you from the lost and found store. We're together finally, wee! Now the world has let it be. The dad and me for all to see. Just my old man and me. Just my old man and me. Just my old man and me. Yeah. It's so great to be with my old man. And moi. I had this great conversation about don't expect anything from me because I'm broken goods. You know, my parents did this and I was left, you know, like a heap on the floor. So, you know, I'm not university material and, you know, my songs, I didn't really write that and, you know, I'm not really that anything, you know, just people would ask me how I was and I wasn't whining about who I was and how I wasn't seeing myself trapped, you know, in a rotten marriage and trapped in a rotten profession and, you know, you're just a victim. And once I realized I'm not a victim here, and then you kind of go, my God, I never was. It was just this great story that was effective because it had everybody, you know, feel sorry for me, and you attract all these losers that have similar stories, and you know, everybody's getting down on the negativity, you know. But really, you can never build anything with a story like that, because what it really says is, don't include me. I'm not a yeah, that's the whole thing was, you be a contribution to me now, because I need something, like I'm deficient of something. I need to get the stuff from you. So I remember that turning around. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it was. So this was all part of my claiming my father, was coming to realize that yeah, he'd always been there, and my story had created such a deep wedge or ridge or whatever it was. I had to climb out of that trench into the real world and start being Nigel, start being magnificent.